Well, the baseball team hit the road for their first SEC series, going to Columbia, Missouri, that is, to take on the Tigers. Of course, they swept Kentucky and looked very good in their first SEC Player of the Year, but things will be just a little different on the road. And of course, they faced a team that we talked about all last week that had great pitching and great defense. At least for the first two games, they showed why with their pitching and defense. Brian Hand now joined me, Spurs and Feathers, and Brian, of course, South Carolina. Both those Friday night and Saturday night games were very close. I mean, there was defensive games. Both teams, I thought, played well defensively. Both teams struggled offensively.
Yeah, you say that defensively. South Carolina didn't play what they would like to defensively, but all in all, good time, or a good defensive effort. But that's the way it is, and sometimes that's going to happen on the road in the SEC. One-run games, and but they gutted out that last one. That they out-hit them 14-3 in the finale, but still only won by a couple runs. And it just kind of just shows how hard it is to win. And that was a Missouri team that the weekend before had gone to Georgia and swept them. So South Carolina's 4-2 in the SEC, 18-6 overall. Obviously they'd like more, and they would have liked to take the Clemson series. Obviously would have liked to take the Missouri series, but they're in a pretty good spot right now.
Well, I mean, when you look at the team, Brian, I mean, you see evidence that they can be a really good baseball team, and they got good pitching. But I think for me with South Carolina, what I see is all about hitting. It's all about pushing runs across. You see a lot of runners stranded on base. They're not able to get them in. As you said, 14 hits to 3 or whatever it was, and you still only win 7-5. But I want to go back to the Saturday game because it was one of those heavyweight boxing type of games. They were going at it, went into extra innings, and Widener came in. The man to shut them down. The Gamecocks get one across. They go up 3-2. But then they gave up a run, and then, of course, the run to, I guess it was a single to score to win. Again, Missouri goes on to win that ball game. So when you look at their pitching, do you think overall is it good enough to get it done? Because this is every weekend now pretty much. You're going up against some good SEC baseball teams.
Yeah, last weekend I would have said it was one of the best in the country, and I still believe that. I just think that they're trying to figure out exactly what. I would have never said, and I really honestly believe this, that they would have had trouble with that Widener situation. And he's not having trouble. He's bowing his neck, but he's not getting there and getting that saves. I mean, he'll stay in the next inning and do very well, but he's not getting there. And you got Fiore, you got Mincy out there, and they got some good people in that setup role, but they're just not. And in one-run games, you got to be able to close it out, and that's kind of the situation. But it goes back to what you were saying with the offense and a lot of it. I mean, for example, South Carolina's got Elliott Caldwell hitting over 400. I think 414 off the top of my head, and then Kyle Martin's hitting 380 over 380. Nobody else is hitting over 300. Max Schrock, so you got a lot. Max Schrock's around 240. And that's not against them. That's just not numbers that we expected from them this year. And averages aren't the most important thing. Your power numbers in college baseball probably mean a little bit more, but they need to get those numbers up a little bit more as they go through the SEC gauntlet.
Well, coming up this week, they head down to Coastal Carolina, down to Myrtle Beach to play on tomorrow. And then Georgia comes into South Carolina for another weekend series. And as you mentioned, Missouri took care of Georgia on the road. Now Georgia coming to the race, so I think things will be just a little bit different. Again, Brian Hand, Spurs and Feathers. Tweet at him, at Spurs and Feathers. Appreciate the love. All right, that's going to do it for sports. We'll come back. We're going to wrap things up right here on WACH Fox News at 10.